We are given a polynomial function and are asked to identify the zeros. The first step is to set the function as equal to 0, and we have already done that. The second is to simplify and solve for x. Now the high degree 5 makes things complicated. Let's try to get rid of that. Now the least common multiple between these three values is the value of x. So let's take that out. X multiplied by x to the power 4 plus x squared, take away 10 equals 0. Now the first value of x that we have is simply 0. X equals 0. We have found the first value of x. Let's put that to the side. Now the function that we are dealing with is x to the power 4 plus x squared, take away 10 equals 0. Let's try to simplify this degree 4. Now there's a trick that you can use, and that is we can write x to the power 4 as x squared to the power of 2 plus x squared, take away 10 equals 0. And here's another trick. Let u equal x squared. Let u equal x squared. So instead of writing x squared here and here, we can just write u. So u and u. The function that we're dealing with is u squared plus u take away 10 equals 0. This form might seem familiar to you, as it is in the quadratic form. It is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is 1, b is 1, and c is negative 10. We can simply use the quadratic formula to solve for the values of u. So the quadratic formula being negative b plus and minus square root of b squared, take away 4ac over 2a. Let's substitute the information that we have into the formula. Negative b, which is 1, plus and minus square root of b, which is 1, squared, take away 4 multiplied by a, which is 1, multiplied by c, which is negative 10, over 2 multiplied by a, which is 1. Our values of u are negative 1 plus square root of 41 over 2 and negative 1 plus square root of 41 over 2. Now we are not done yet. These are not the values of x. Pay attention. Let's free up some space over here. Keep in mind that u is equal to x squared. So we still have some solving to do. So instead of writing u over here, we have to write x squared. In other words, x squared equals negative 1 plus the square root of 41 over 2, and x squared equals negative 1 plus square root of 41 over 2. We still have to solve this out. So we take the square root of both sides of the equation, and we know that when we take the square root of something that is to the power of 2, it cancels each other out. We also know that we have two solutions over here. Now, let's start with this one over here. Positive square root of the value will yield x equals 1.64, and negative square root of the value will yield x equals negative 1.64. We have found two values of x. Let's move on to this equation over here. Notice that we have a negative sign inside the square root, and that is impossible. We cannot take the square root of a negative number, therefore this is no solution. We have found, therefore, our x values. X equals 0, x equals 1.64, and x equals negative 1.64. These are our zeros. Let's move on to finding the maximum number of turning points. The maximum number of turning points is taking the highest degree and subtracting it by 1. The highest degree in the function is 5. So 5 take away 1 is 4. 4 is the maximum number of turning points. Let's take that to the side. Let's find the y-intercept. Now the y-intercept is taking f of 0. So x being 0 to the power of 5 plus x being 0 to the power of 3, take away 10 multiplied by x, which is 0. Notice that we actually do not have a y-intercept, so no y-intercept. The function actually never touches the y-axis. Okay? Now, moving on to the final part of the question, and that is to find and write the intervals of when f of x is below the x-axis. We have to actually draw our function. Our function will look like this, the zeros being negative 1.64 and positive 1.64 and 0. Our function will be looking like this. So the function being below the x-axis is this region over here. Let's write that out. X equals, now from negative infinity until it reaches negative 1.64, it's below the x-axis. So x equals negative infinity until negative 1.64. And from 0 until it reaches 1.64, it is below the x-axis. So 0 until 1.64.